So to me, this is one of the most fascinating business models that are out there that is, I think, often overlooked, which are the daycare model. And if you have kids, or maybe if you don't even have kids, you may have seen the Learning Experience Academy, or you just look at some of these daycares and the amount that you're paying for your kids and you go, gosh, these guys have to be printing money. Well, in this video, we are going to dive into the Learning Center. We're going to talk about exactly how much it costs to get one up and open, exactly how much money the franchisees are making, so that you can answer the question, is this a good investment to buy? Now, if you're new here, my name is Tarek Johnson. I am the CEO and founder of Franchise Empire, where we have helped hundreds of individuals find, vet, buy, and launch proven money-making franchises. And we've helped a number of our clients actually buy daycare franchises as well. So this is an area that, again, I find really interesting, especially for the amount of money that we pay for our kids. So before we dive into the numbers, let's talk about how this brand got started. So the Weissman family are the founders and creators, and they actually opened their first childcare center back in 1980 in Boca Raton, Florida, and that began their journey in early education. And in late 1980s, Michael and Richard Weissman acquired a company called Tutor Time, which they expanded into 200 centers across the US and abroad before selling the companies in 1990. This is a common theme that keeps happening and coming up with a lot of these big franchisor brands, is that they got their start by acquiring another business. So it's an interesting thing to think about, and it's a strategy that franchisees can use as well. Actually, I know some daycare franchises. I have a buddy actually who we helped him buy a daycare franchise, and part of their model is you can build and start your own location from scratch, but you can acquire a non-franchise daycare, childcare center, whatever you want to call it, and then you do what's called a conversion. You convert it into that franchise brand. So you're not just starting from scratch. You do have to, pay for the rebranding and all that stuff, but you're actually buying the business, which is pretty interesting. It's very popular in automotive franchises as well. It's a common tactic. You buy a mom and pop automotive shop, you rebrand it, boom, rock and roll, ready to go. But who says that you can't benefit from that strategy as well? So after stepping away for a few years, the Weissmans came back in 2002 with a bigger vision, which was to create schools that went beyond just babysitting. And that's how the Learning Experience was born. They actually just opened one of these close to our house. We don't send our kids there, but I'll tell you what, the location looks beautiful. It looks beautiful from the outside. Although it is in a shopping center, so the play area outside, the playground, looks a little bit small. I'm not a huge fan of that. I feel like kids, they need that space to be able to be free during their playtime, but hey, whatever works. Now, by 2003, they launched franchising. Parents bought in quickly. They created the LEAP curriculum. They didn't create the LEAP curriculum, but the LEAP curriculum promised kids would not only be cared for, but also learn reading, math, and social skills before kindergarten. And what they did was they added a lot of colors and colorful characters to make learning fun while teaching kids values and manners at the same time. They have enrichment programs like yoga, music, and foreign language that give them an edge over just basic stale daycare models. And today they have over 600 locations nationwide with, get this, 45% of their franchisees own multiple locations. That's a great sign. When you are doing due diligence on a franchise and you find out that a high percentage of franchisees own multiple locations, it's a very good sign. Why? Because that means, who's going to go open another location if their first location's not doing well? Maybe a few people will. 45% of the franchisees? Probably not. All right, so here is the trivia. If you get it right, we will either send you one of these Franchise Millionaire mugs, or we will send you a Franchise Millionaire shirt that says Building My Empire. We have another one that says Failure's Not an Option in blue. So you get to pick your choice out of the three. If you get this right, we will pick one of the winners from the comments below. The question is this: the Learning Experience has one main mascot who guides their kids through the daily lessons. Do you know who it is? Drop us a note in the comment below. And while you're down there, if you're still exploring franchising and you feel like, hey, I'm trying to learn more about franchising, the structure, the way that it works, how I actually scale and make money from it, and you want some insider information, I put together a mini course called our Franchise Buyers Academy that we used to charge for, but for a limited time, I am going to gift it to you for free. So if you want that, you can click the link below while you're down there in the comments guessing the trivia to win your mug or t-shirt, or you can go to franchiseempire.com/FBA for Franchise Buyers Academy. Now, in terms of the startup costs, what do those look like? How much is it going to set you back? What I can tell you is that daycare and childcare centers are some of the most expensive franchises that you can get up and open, by the way. So the estimated total investment is between $780 on the low end, $5.6 million on the high end. It does depend on whether you purchase an existing center, right? We talked about the strategy, or develop your own center, or if you wind up purchasing the land and then building the building. Again, daycares can get, as you can see, into the millions and millions of dollars to get up and open, depending upon, what your strategy is there. Now, the franchise fee for each center is $60,000. Oh, by the way, if you're thinking $780,000 is way too much, like I'm not going to spend $780,000 on the low end, and it likely going to be in the millions to open up my franchise. If that's the case, I have another gift for you, which is called our 5 low-cost franchises that all make $1 million. It's a breakdown of 5 specific franchises that are generally about $250,000 or less to get up and open, and they show that there are franchisees producing over $1 million in sales. So you can get that at franchiseempire.com/low cost. Guys, we have all sorts of free resources and giveaways that we really would love to get into your hands, because we know that competence creates confidence. The more competent you are in a specific area, the more confident you'll feel, more knowledgeable, whether you want to buy a franchise or not. At least you'll have the education to be equipped. Now, in terms of their royalties, it's 7% of their gross revenue, which includes all revenue related to the center. So I'm sure they make money off of food. There's probably some sort of lunch program. There might be like after-school programs. There's all sorts of revenue opportunities in the business. Guys, think about this. This is one of the reasons why I like the child care and daycare model. It's recurring revenue, and there's always a demand for sending kids to school and quality schools. Think about that. Every month you wake up, if you got 100 kids, 200 kids in your center, boom, that money's being auto drafted and put into your bank account every month. And some of these schools have a waiting list. So think about this. You are completely maxed out with your revenue and your potential at capacity. And then when kids graduate and go on to the next level of schooling, you have this wait list of people ready to fill in their spots. If you do it right, it can be an incredible business model, and probably why 45% of the franchisees own multiple units. The marketing fee is currently 1% of gross revenue, and they have the right to increase the minimum payment up to 2.5% of gross revenue. And then there's a lease administration fee, $1.80 per square foot per year, or 8% of annual base rent, whichever is greater. Interesting. Let's look at the numbers. Average gross sales for mature franchise locations. A mature franchise location is defined as a location that has been up and open for at least 48 months, so 4 years. Then what we see there is that the average gross sales in 2024 was $2.1 million. You can see that. We'll show that there on the screen for mature franchise locations. For intermediate franchise locations, which are centers that were open between 24 to 47 months, so basically more than 2 years, less than 4 years, the average sales, wow, this is 1.8 million. So 1.8 million in 2024. So you can see there's about a $300,000 difference between the average centers that are not mature versus mature. And this goes in alignment with a lot of what we teach and coach our clients on, and just share in these videos that we make, is that, everyone wants overnight success. You want to open up your business in year one. We have people that are like, I want to replace my $200,000 a year income in year one. It's probably not going to happen. Has someone done it? Probably. Will you do it? Probably not. Guys, the reality is business is not a sprint. Business is a marathon. And a lot of these businesses that we cover, as you can see, they've been around for decades. Doesn't mean it's going to take you decades to be successful in your business, whether you do a franchise or not. But I always say it takes about 3 to 5 years for a business to reach its maturity. And I'm constantly validated by that when we look at the numbers of some of these franchises and how much they perform based on how long that they've been open. right? And so here's what's really interesting. They're corporate centers. So they do have corporate owned centers. In 2024, they had 232 franchise centers, 16 corporate centers. Their corporate centers average 2.6 million. I'm curious why that's the case. Maybe they just produce bigger locations. The way that childcare centers and daycares works is based on the size of the building and the square footage, you can be licensed for a certain amount of kids. So it's possible that you can open a center that's only licensed for 150 kids or 200 kids, whereas another location is licensed for 250 kids. Also, the licensing requirements are going to vary by, state by state. And so maybe what the licensing allows in Florida is different than what the licensing allows in Virginia. So there is a lot of variance to some of these numbers, but I think it's interesting that the corporate locations outperform the franchise locations by a significant margin. That's for the mature centers though. Check this out. When we look at the table for the intermediate centers, the corporate locations underperform the franchise locations. So that is definitely an interesting data point. Now, if you guessed bubbles, the elephant, you are correct. I think that's going to be an easy one, right? Because it's just a giant elephant everywhere on the branding for this brand. But that's part of how they make learning fun. And so the learning experience is just one of many franchises that we broke down and talked about their sales, how much they cost to get open, and figuring out if they're a good investment. So based on the information provided in this video, you'll be able to decide if that's the case. But if you want to see more videos like this on some of the biggest franchise brands that you see every day, like McDonald's, like Burger King, all of those other brands, then you can click here and watch this playlist where we break down dozens and dozens of other household name franchises to figure out, are they a good investment or not? We'll look forward to seeing you on another video. The next video, make sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.